Hey everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome to the Dose of Bliss show. Today I am so excited. We have fitness, mindset coach, and now best-selling author, Rebecca Louise. Yay!
Thank you so much for having me. What a nice intro. I love that.
Yes, well, that's who you are. I'm so happy to have you here. You guys, this has been a long time in the making. I am such a fan of Rebecca. She is an amazing fitness coach on YouTube. She's so inspirational. I mean, you have like all these mentors and gurus. You now have a book. I mean, I'm so excited to interview you because I want to know how to be you. So, how did this happen? Where did you start and how did you manifest to be the person you are today?
So I'm originally from England and I've lived in America for about 9 years. And I moved to London when I was 19 years old from a very small town in England. And I think I always just said yes to everything. So my idea of manifesting is have an opportunity, come along and say yes and figure it out later. And then I came to America to get my commercial pilot's license about 7 years ago. Fell in love with Southern California. I mean, how can you not? Palm trees and sunshine. I grew up with rain and, oak trees. It's kind of a little bit different. And then managed to get myself a work visa to be out in America, went for auditions. I was like, my British accent, it's going to be great in Hollywood, no problem. Turns out it's not that easy. But I did get an audition to be on a YouTube channel, and it was for being a fitness trainer. And I played sports growing up as a kid. I'd always wanted to be a TV presenter. That was my thing. I wanted to be a TV presenter. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be able to host fitness shows, my fitness and, talking to the camera is going to happen at the same time. So I discovered that's my one talent in life, is talking and working out at the same time. And basically from there, we just created an amazing YouTube channel. It grew to, I think it's like 3.5 million subscribers. They only filmed for 18 months. And after that, they decided they didn't want to film anymore. And I was left with that decision saying, do I do something completely different or do I start again from one subscriber? So it was a little bit of a tough decision. And I always felt like I was comparing myself to the channel I'd previously built. But I just thought, you know what, this is what I love to do. This is what I'm excited about. So went on and created my own channel and have had that now with a fitness app and a book and all of the things over the last 6 years. So it's just been nothing short of extraordinary.
Wow, I didn't even know all that. So this happened 6 years ago, all of this.
Yeah, so I originally came to America 9 years ago, got my commercial pilot's license. And then I think it must have been about 7 years ago that I first got on YouTube and was on another channel. So got paid, $40 per episode to do it, grew that to, 3 million subscribers, but I was never the person who was in charge of the channel, who owned it. So when they decided that they didn't want to film anymore, I was like from, on cloud nine to, to having to start all over again. So it was a hard, pill to swallow at the time because I was like, I've just been, doing all these videos and we've created this amazing community, but it just allowed me that space to create it by myself.
Wait, your commercial pilot's license, is that for like flying a plane?
Yes. So when I was living in London, some crazy stuff kind of happened and we had that volcano ash cloud. And I remember seeing a plane land on the news and I just needed to get out of London. I was partying like crazy. I was in a bad group of people. And I was just like, I literally said, screw it. I'm going to fly. I'm going to be a pilot. So I was like, Googled where you become a pilot. And the cheapest places to do it are in America. And it's California and Florida. And I've been to Florida loads of times as a kid going to Disney World. I was like, you know what? I grew up watching Laguna Hills on MTV. And I used to say, one day, Lauren Conrad, I'm going to be driving down PCH in my convertible car. And now I do have a convertible Mercedes and I live on Pacific Coast Highway. So it is about manifesting your dreams and wanting what it is that you wanted. So when that idea, I didn't know that that's how I was going to get to America. I didn't realize that it was going to be the pilot's thing that would send me over here. But yeah, I started my license. I did my private, my multi-engine, did my whole instrument, then went back to England to do all my written exams, passed all of those. And then the next step was literally going for an interview to be to work for a commercial airline. And I was just like, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to do. I was like, this is a lot of work, but I don't think I'm destined to be a pilot. I loved it. It was super fun, but it wasn't my passion. But I did want to get myself back to America. And I managed to get together some stuff of, previous presenting and modeling and random stuff before to be able to get myself a visa to come to America. But that was hard in itself. That was 10 months waiting in England. I probably spent about $40,000 in the last 9 years just on trying to stay in the country.
You have everything so together with your channel, but going back and hearing that first you wanted to be a pilot, you didn't know, and then you didn't even set out to necessarily have this amazing YouTube channel and become this manifestation, motivational coach type person. You had a completely different idea in mind, and this wasn't even part of it. And this was just kind of based on, okay, I'm just going to go for it.
Absolutely. And I feel like, you know, I've been to so many auditions. I've been to so many castings, so many auditions to be an extra, or I just wanted to get my like name out there. I kind of, when we were talking about in our podcast, like, why are these people on TV? Like, I was like, I can do that. Like, that's where I'm supposed to be. And I feel like YouTube was an area where you got to be yourself. It didn't matter of how tall you were. It didn't matter what color eyes you had. It didn't matter what color hair you were. People were just going to decide on you. And it wasn't going to be a casting director that was going to determine your life. And I felt like YouTube was the place where you could just be credited on your own merit and not like who you knew or if you were the right height. And so I found like that was my space. And I loved, you know, being a TV host, TV presenter. And I was like, here it is. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it by being myself and creating the job by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Which is the way to do it. And it's funny because I did the same thing, and I did the same thing with the hills. I was like, that's going to be me. I'm going to live the life of the hills. And I did it too. No wonder we're like friends. So when you were in England, you actually talked about you were around the wrong crowd. Like, what was your life like before you made the shift? Like, what was that pivotal moment and what was happening?
Yeah, so when I was I didn't go to university. I decided I was going to go straight to London because I wanted to start working in TV. So I did a reality TV show in England that was called Get Me the Producer, that had, you know, took people who had potential to be a TV producer. I was 18 years old. I was the youngest of the people there. The show was amazing. I got to go down the red carpet at the National TV Awards. It was just fantastic. And I didn't win the show. I came like second and my head was all over the place. I was like, I just needed to get to London. I was like, that's where you make the money, that's where you have the connections. And so I just needed to move there. So I got myself working in a bank. I worked for Citigroup, in like corporate bank in Canary Wharf for 9 months, because the guy I was dating at the time, he worked for a bank. And I was like, if you want to move to London, you need to get, you know, money. It's expensive. And the banks paid really well. But I had nothing like that on my resume. So I reached out to like 100 recruitment agencies. They're like, you have a reality TV show, art, because I also wanted to be an artist because my granddad and my auntie are both artists. And I wanted to be a dancer. But they were the things that I wanted to be. So they're like, why would you be like doing this? But I managed to get myself 3 interviews, one at HSBC, Bloomberg, and Citigroup. And then I took the one that had the best pay. So £27,000 starting salary at 19 years old. Like, that's absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I didn't know anybody when we went to London. And, you know, I was, you know, meeting friends, and I managed to get myself into being a club promoter. I was like, you know, I'll talk to anybody. I'm the life and the soul of the party. And when club promoting, you know, and you're doing all of that things, there's drugs. There's a lot of drugs in the West End, right? And before you know it, like, I'm out until 6 a.m. in the morning doing all sorts of crazy drugs and partying like a complete animal. And, you know, there was one time where some stuff actually happened with a paparazzi, and somebody stole my photo from my phone, and they sent it to a national newspaper, and everybody thought it was me who'd actually done it. But I actually managed to get copyright issues. And after that kind of went down, and I saw things that were being printed in online and in magazines, and I was like, this isn't even true. Like, I just had a very like weird relationship with what was happening in London. And I was like, I need to get out. I just needed to like change. I'm being surrounded by people that aren't like career driven and like, you know, ready for life. It's like ready for the weekend. You know, I was just living paycheck to paycheck, you know, paying my bills. But really, I always knew that there was like something more that I wanted to do. And so when we had that volcano ash cloud in Iceland and it grounded all of the planes, I literally remember watching the news and seeing a plane land. And I was in my flat in London, and I was behind my sofa, and I just remember saying, I think I said, F it, I'm going to be a pilot. And from that moment, it was like, okay, and when I say I'm going to do something, oh, I'm going to do it. Like, there isn't any like turning back or I'm not sure. It's like, I'm doing this. And I think like 3 months later, I was on a plane going to America to learn how to fly an airplane.
That's crazy. In a span of 3 months, you got to there. And this is just the craziest story of how you got to where you are today. So you start at 1 subscriber after being on a big channel. How did you get to where you are, and how did you manifest that?
Honestly, it's consistency. No, I've not missed a new workout. I think I've had my channel now for six and a half years, maybe 5, I can't even count now. But we've never ever missed a new workout coming out each week. And that really is the biggest thing. And, you know, at the beginning, I was like competing. I felt like I was competing against the channel that I built. I was like, this is at like 3 million subscribers. I'm starting at 1, 2, 3, right? But as I started to get people's comments, and I was focused on serving the people who were watching rather than worrying so much about like getting more and more people. Because just because you have 1 million followers on Instagram or YouTube doesn't mean to say that you have $1 million in your bank account. You can have $1 million in your bank account with 10,000 people, right? It's all about actually serving the people that you have. And, you know, yes, I want to help and get to a lot of people, but I want to make sure that the people that I do have are being served. So when I was just focused on that and focused on the comments and replying and engaging with my audience and providing them a product where they were getting results, that was my driving force. And, you know, it's not always easy when you see other people growing at like an exponential rate, or you're like, how is that happening? Why is that happening to their channel right now? Why is that not happening to me? But it's like, this is your journey. This is supposed to be the test for you. And this is your journey. So you have to embrace it and just be grateful for where you are right now, because there's somebody who would love to be in your position.
That is so true. And it's speaking to me right now because I'm on the beginning of my YouTube journey, but it also goes to show, I mean, you're going to be on, if everyone watching, you're on my channel now, you know? So it really is about that, and hearing from you that you felt that way at the beginning and you still fought through it to be where you are today, where people like me, we look up to you. I want to be like how you are. So I love hearing that background. What made you become that person? Like, where did you learn to have that mindset to just go for it and to, you know, just think about you and don't worry about the other people?
You know what I mean, I have incredible family, incredible parents. They're not pushy at all. And I remember, like, if I told my dad that I did something, he'd be like, what do you want? A paper hat. Like, he would literally say, what do you want? A paper hat? Like, and so like, not that it was like not good enough. And I remember my mom like kicking my dad under the table at dinner and saying like, you need to tell her like, great job, great job. But like, it was never like, if I did a good job, he would honestly tell me. And if it wasn't like that great, it was just like, okay, well done. Like, what do you want? A paper hat? Like, you know, well done. So I think that, and it's funny because I only realized this about a month ago when I was on another podcast. And when someone said, where do you have that drive from? Because my mom's a school teacher. My dad worked for the same company for 25 years. And I just think a lot of things like happened along my life that told me no, that I just reacted and said, like, screw you, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, I remember my dance teacher at 14 years old. She said, if you get honors in your grade 6 ballet exam, I will let you take the pre-elementary exam too, because this one was more difficult and you have to go to London for it. But I really wanted to do it. I wanted to have a shot at doing it. And I got honors. And I remember walking out of that studio, and she said, you know, she said she wasn't going to let me take the exam. And I was like mind blown. I was like, how dare you? Like, I got what I was supposed to do. And I think those things, they're either going to make you go one or two ways. You're going to say, oh, well, she said I wasn't good enough, I can't do it. But in my head, I'm like, no, like, you're not going to be in charge of my destiny. And so one of my, you know, manifestation goals is to be on Dancing with the Stars, so that one day I can, like, you know, say to my dance teacher, you know, like, screw you. Like, I told you that I was good enough to do this. So I think just, you know, I've said yes to so many things, and I just know that it's not always going to work out, but it will work out if you allow it to, because you're just learning from it. You're just a learning experience. Like, when something you think bad happens, it's not bad. It just is. It's just something to grow from. So I think I've just had that burning desire inside of me just to, I mean, that's why the book is called It Takes Grit, because it's just the grit that you need to keep on going.
You have to just always see everything as an opportunity. Like, if I don't get this, I'm going to get something better. Like, this is serving a purpose. I'm not going to give up. It's always, and that's a true testament to who you are. Like, I'm going to be a pilot, you know, I'm going to do this. It always morphed to the next level and got you to where you need to be, because you had that mindset. You let each thing be a catalyst. Even though they seem like they're not connected, there's skills from each thing that you're doing. Even being a club promoter, even though that was maybe a lower time in your life, that teaches you, I know how to network. I mean, I would go to clubs with friends, and that's how I learned how to network with people. How do you get into the club and get VIP? Like, that's a skill you need to be a professional. How do you meet the person you need to talk to? It's the same of how do you meet a person at the right promoter at the club to give you the table you want, you know, or be in the DJ booth.
100%. And I had a Facebook group for my club promoting like 10 years ago. I mean, well, yeah, 10, 11 years ago. So I knew how to make a Facebook group. Like, I knew how to promote myself to be able to get clients. I mean, that's basically what I do now. So everything, even though you feel like, oh, that was a waste of time or this didn't work, like, it all comes back together.
Yeah. You can't stop yourself and be like, I wasted all this time. I'm this age. What now? Because it all has a plan for you. So my channel is all about like law of attraction, manifestation. What is your law of attraction story? Do you have like a crazy moment of putting something on a vision board or writing something down and it came true? And if so, what did you do and how did it come to fruition?
You know, one of the big things is my brother and I now work together in a nutrition company that we have together. And for 4 years, he ignored me and he didn't want to be part of it. But I just knew if I stayed the course, that eventually he would be part of it. And last year, we got to experience an amazing event together. We went to New Orleans. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I had my mum there and my dad there, and they saw me like walk across the stage with this new position that I just hit. And then my brother was there as well. And I'd envisioned that moment, you know, 7 years ago, I started with this company. And for 7 years, I was just like, one day, we're all going to be there together. They're going to understand what I've done. I was able to retire both of my parents, which I've now been able to do. My brother's now in the business with me. He's now got 2 like incredible, you know, smoothie bars in North Carolina. And now his, you know, fiance does the business as well. And I think I just always visioned that would be like a family business that we would get to do together. And when that happened, like last year, it was just, it was a magical moment. I got to surprise my mum with a Louis Vuitton bag. She'd been talking about this bag for like 10 years. I'm not even kidding you, because she went in to buy it 10 years ago into Selfridges in London, and the price had gone up. And the guy in the store was like, well, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And she had worked specifically hard to make the amount of money that she needed. And when that happened, she walked out the store in tears, because, you know, you go in, you're spending all of this money on Louis Vuitton, you want to be treated well. And so I had that vision of one day I'm going to be able to buy that bag for you. And by the time I bought the bag, it had gone up like 300 pounds, because, you know, like it goes up like 50 pounds like every single year. And I'd envisioned, I was like, one day I'm going to be able to buy that bag. And then giving it to her and seeing her reaction, like it was just, it wasn't about the bag. It wasn't about the fact it was Louis Vuitton. It was about the fact that she'd wanted that bag 10 years ago. It'd been in our group chat for goodness knows how long, every single, you know, month. Oh, should I get the bag? Should I get the bag? So I just knew in my head that one day when I'd worked hard enough and I was able to afford it, it would be an amazing feeling to be able to give it to her.
That is such an amazing story of how, like, I mean, even as a manifestation of your mom wanting something for 10 years, and somehow it's like you don't know how the things you want are going to come to you or when they're going to, but somehow they come to you exactly how you want it. Somehow it just like appears. Like she thought about this 10 years ago. I don't know if she ever thought like one day my daughter would buy me my bag. But you had the plan. And so it's like you never know who's listening to your prayers, who's watching, who's those little things, they do make a difference in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a magical moment. It's so true. She probably manifested it. She manifested that a lot. There was a lot of manifesting that went into that.
It just goes to show you speak things into existence. Like be careful what you say, because you will get exactly what you say, positive or negative. And you have to know it when you see it. You don't necessarily know that's what you're doing. And if you know it, you're like, okay, let's keep applying this to life. So what are like your 3 biggest tips for manifesting?
So my freebie is find out what it is that you really want. Like what gets you emotional? Because sometimes we think that we want something and we're just like, if we have to close our eyes. I put on music and I want to really feel it, because when you're really emotionally connected to your goal, that's what's going to like literally make you work hard too. Right. So that's the first thing, is like, when you are manifesting, if it's something that you really, really want, you will get emotional about it. I feel like it's something that's deep inside of you. Number 2 is when you manifest, do the work as well. So it's like, think about, but you know, you went out, you met the right people. You have to go up to people. I mean, you've got so much balls, because I remember we went to the VidCon and you were like, yeah, just go and speak to this person. I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, okay. Like, who's this girl? She's like got no, like, you know, she's got no fear whatsoever. So I feel like having that combination of manifesting things and also having the fear in it as well, of actually going and doing the work. So that would be my number 2. And I think number 3, like, you know, when it comes to manifesting, it's like doing it in the way that you relate with. So some people like to journal. I saw your vision board earlier. That's awesome. I have a vision board too. It's like doing it in different mediums actually help you get it into your physiological body. So sometimes if you just think about something, it's like if you want to take action or something, don't just watch a podcast, don't just listen to something, don't just read something, actually write it down, because that gets it into your body. And so when you're getting things into your body, like you're creating the, you know, the vision board, you're writing it all down, you're printing stuff out, you're sticking it down, you're making it look really pretty, right? You're putting your new man on there, your new girl on there, like whatever it is that you want. That actually, the process of doing that actually gets it into your physiological body and makes you have that emotional connection. So for me, it's not just about like, let's just sit there and think about what it is I want, but let's put it down onto paper. And again onto paper. So I think that would they would be my 3 tips.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's how, when you think about it, to all those people out there that are like, what is law of attraction? I don't believe in it. That's how you learn in school. You learn a math problem, you write the math problem down. Then they give you the blocks where you like move the quarters around or the blocks around to count. So you're physically doing it. Then you do like some sort of project. So you're learning the materials in different ways. And that's how you fully understand the concept. And you also have assignment notebooks in school where you're saying this project's due by this day, you know, so you have all these plans and you're doing this in school when you're growing up. But for some reason, when we're grown up, we're not carrying that into our life. And that's really what manifestation is, and doing those things. So I love that you have those techniques. And so we only have a few minutes left. Before we talk about your new book, what is your advice to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Oh my goodness. I was a crazy, wild child. I would just say like, everything's going to be okay. You know, like everything is going to be okay. You're doing good. You know, probably just a little bit more grace on myself. Not being so hard on myself, but you know, it's difficult because I was talking about to somebody else the other day. And it's like, yes, we're hard on ourselves because we have standards, right? But it's also about like, hey, if you make a mistake or you mess up, it's like, have that grace. So I think I would just tell myself like, you're going to be okay. You've got this. Have a little bit more grace for yourself.
Mm-hmm. You are who you want to be. That's amazing advice. So that brings me to your book, which I have right here. She sent me one. Can you tell everyone about your new book and where they can get it? It's now an Amazon bestseller, like Queen of Manifesting. It just goes to show, went from being a pilot, club promoter, to 1 subscriber, to a best-selling book. We have it right here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called It Takes Grit. You can get it available on Amazon. You can get it available on Barnes & Nobles, all the places. And it really is a no BS guide to what it takes to get where you want to be in life. You know, there's loads of books out there that say, you know, do this, this is what's going to get you a result. But this book is actually going to prepare you. It's going to prepare you for things that are going to come along that are going to try and throw you off your game. And that's going to teach you how to find the grit to keep on going. So in the book, I share lots of personal stories of things that I've gone through, just to show you, hey, I went through this, and this is what I learned from it, and this is how you can move to the next level. So not allowing your past to determine your future. A lot of people get so, you know, hooked up on, well, this happened to me and this is why I can't do this in the future. You know, they want significance and they feel like if they hold on to something negative that happened to them in the past, it's going to make them feel important, right? That's what they need to make them feel special and unique. Whereas really you're special and you're unique just as you are. So the book really is a no BS guide to leveling up your life. It's also got a 30-day challenge in there as well. So, you know, follow along workouts, meal plan, tasks, mindset work, all the things to really take your life to the next level.
Amazing. And as you can see watching, if you're not familiar with Rebecca, she literally is the person in the book, and you hear the advice, and she's really done the work to be able to tell you how you can do it too. Can you tell everybody where they can get the book and where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on social media, all of the things Rebecca Louise Fitness. YouTube is Rebecca Louise. You can get a 30-day free program as well. Just go to rebecca-louise.com, add in your email. We'll send you 30 days of follow-along workouts, like meal plans, all the things to get you started. We have an app as well called BTES. Just go to BTES on your Android or iOS and you get a 7-day free trial. And then the book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It Takes Grit.
Amazing. And I will link it all below. And also I'm going to be on Rebecca's podcast. So when that's live, it's going to pop up on the screen and we'll have it so you can watch both of our advice. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's a dream come true. And I feel so inspired. I know everyone watching this too. So thank you so much. And we'll see all you guys next time. Bye.